Welcome to the Red Chair Podcast, a bite-sized podcast for associations and nonprofits covering the latest trends and issues facing association leaders. This inaugural episode discusses the rising popularity of podcasts in recent years as a method of content delivery and how associations can start to elevate their podcasting program. With me today, I have two of my colleagues. Megan, can you introduce yourself?
I am Megan Ramirez, and I am the Director of Marketing and Communications for the WOCN Society.
And I'm Sarah Black. I'm Director of Content and Creative for Association Headquarters.
So, Sarah, I'm going to give you the first question here. In honor of AH's inaugural podcast, can you explain why AH chose to incorporate podcasts into their content mix?
Definitely. So, AH really went long on content over the last year and a half. And in doing that, we've had some really great success. But we realize that content isn't one-dimensional and that not all members of our audience are going to want to consume content in just a written form. And so we took a cue from some of our client partners, like the WOCN Society, who have had some success with podcasting and wanted to introduce an audio-only content option for those members of our audience who maybe aren't going to invest the time to read content or who don't have the time to read the content. So we're really excited to be able to introduce a more in-depth way to bring content to them in an audio format.
So Megan, podcasts are a really significant method of content delivery over the last couple of years and are having a moment again. Why do you think that's happening? And what role will podcasts play going forward?
So I think a lot of what Sarah said, people are just looking for different ways to really digest information nowadays. And I think a big reason why they've really taken off over the last year or so is because of the pandemic. You know, we can't physically be with one another. So this is a way to kind of really connect, in audio format, to connect with our members, get information out there in an easier, digestible way.
What was WOCN's motivation in adding podcasts to the library resource?
So WOCN, we're a group of passionate nurses, and they always want to do the most. So they always want to do the most for their patients. So that kind of trickles down to the staff as well. We always want to do the most to provide the most education to our members and the greater healthcare community. And podcast was a way of doing that. We understand that they all have really busy schedules. So the audio only format is a really great way of giving them additional education, additional ways of connecting with one another. And it's just been an amazing opportunity for us content-wise.
So you just highlighted a little bit, but why would a podcast benefit an association?
So I think we really got into it as a way of getting more information out there about our organization, and then the education that we're able to provide not only our members but the greater healthcare community. It's a wonderful opportunity to connect with your members in a more casual way, conversational way, to really give a voice to your membership, to let them voice their concerns, anything that they are experiencing in their daily lives, to help other members, other people in the profession kind of overcome some obstacles, get additional education. It's just, there are so many different avenues that you can kind of take with it. And we really specifically like it because we're able to, see what they need and provide more of that in an easier way.
I also feel like in a podcast format, you're able to pack more into the format than into something that's written where it might take them longer to read that. What you can listen to in 10, 15 minutes might take you a lot longer to read and digest it, or it might even take you longer to get to it, where people can listen to a podcast when they're on the go, right? So you can kind of give them content wherever they are.
Yeah, and I think it's it's just easier for our members. Sometimes they're completely burnt out at the end of the day. So, watching something or reading something physically is just too much. So digesting something in an audio format is just an easier way to get them that education, to have them take a moment to kind of take a breather from their day. So that's kind of been a big goal of ours, to have them take a pause, take a step back, allow them to have time, whether it's on their commute into their organization or on their lunch break. We know that our nurses are busy, busy, and we wanted to give them an opportunity to kind of meet them where they were.
So considering strategy, how might an association evaluate whether their audience is receptive to podcasts? Because podcasting is still, it's really popular, but still a lot of people still don't understand how it all works.
Yeah, so it's kind of taking me back to when we decided to do this, and we started our podcast back in 2018. And one of the things that we decided to kind of throw into the mix is we do an educational needs assessment survey every year. We tend to survey our members to ask them the types of education that they want to hear or see, either in a webinar format or at our national conference every year. And we throw podcasting into that as a question. Like, what are the ways that they want to get information? So podcasting is in there now, and we do poll our membership as well. So we have a pretty decent following on social media. So we do ask them from time to time, what do they want to hear? What are they tackling right now? What are some of their problems that we can help get more education to help improve their outcomes with their patients? So it's very give and take. So we're not just pushing stuff out there for the sake of pushing stuff out there because we think it's going to stick and resonate with our audiences. We like to kind of put our finger on the pulse of what's going on in the industry, hear from our members. Some of them email us as well, or they will email our host and say, I'd really liked this episode. I'd like to hear more about this. I heard from so-and-so at a conference, and I think that they'd be a wonderful, guest on the show. So we're constantly trying to really evolve what we're doing based on the needs of our organization and the greater healthcare community.
So how does WOCN structure access to the podcast? Is it free to members? Is it premium, like a purchase for non-members?
So it is free to everyone. It is free to everyone. And we did that because we have so much content, whether it be webinars or documents in our document library, white papers, books in our bookstore. We started podcasts as a branding opportunity to get more information out there about what we can offer, not only our members, but the greater healthcare community. So we decided that it was going to be free for all. So you can listen to it wherever you listen to podcasts. And that's kind of the tactic that we went into with our strategy. And it's worked really, really well for us so far. We are an association of just shy of 6,000 members, and we have mostly our members are within the U.S. and Canada, but we have people listening from 70 different countries right now. So our podcast is reaching a wider audience than just our membership. And that was our ultimate goal, because we know that our education and everything that we provide to our members is not just applicable to them, but it's applicable to the greater healthcare community. And that's not just within the U.S. and Canada. It's worldwide at this point.
So how does WOCN define success? You just said the podcast being listened to all 70 different countries. Is that one part of the success?
Yes. So we do pay attention to our data and analytics, and definitely the fact that we're in over 70 countries at this point is a huge marker for success. Another one is just the total number of downloads and the total number of unique listeners. So like I said, our membership is just shy of 6,000, but we have over 20,000 unique listeners on our channel. So it's been a wild ride, but it's been super successful for us. And we've started trying new things as well because of that, because we see it taking off. We now offer contact hours to the greater healthcare community for listening to specific podcasts throughout the year. So that's something that we tried for the first time this year. And it's still, working our kinks out right now, but it's a wonderful opportunity, a wonderful value add as a member benefit, to our organization to be able to offer contact hours to our nurses just for listening to a podcast.
Any words of advice for any association leaders thinking to explore podcasting?
Just have an open mind, I think. I know myself, I was really stressed out in the beginning to try to kind of come up with a schedule, see what worked best. But, as long as you have a good host, a good team behind you to, put that content out there, and you're consistent, you're paying attention to what works and what doesn't work, it is something that can be super beneficial. And at this point for us, it kind of is a well-oiled machine where, we set everything up and had a good foundation in the beginning. And at this point, it's taken off, and we are just excited to see it continue to grow from here.
How many staff members are working on the podcast?
So I do have 2 staff on my team. We all kind of take turns with listening to content. We do develop the titles and the descriptions, link to any resources after they're recorded. I do have one host that is a consistent host for all of our normal bi-weekly episodes. And then we do bonus episodes that are with industry-supported topic areas. So we do have a separate host for those as well. So just a handful of us, along with a producer that helps us kind of mix our audio and things like that. But it's a very strong team of people that are pushing this out there consistently. And it doesn't take much. Mm-hmm. Once you have that good foundation set up, and you are pushing the content out there consistently, the listeners will come.
What kind of budget does it take to make a podcast? I feel like it might vary between association.
I think it depends on what you want to do with your podcast. Some associations are deciding to just do audio only. We do audio only. There's no video component. I think when you add in video, that can be a little bit more, expensive, more staff, more time associated with it. But just audio, I mean, once you set up with your hosts with equipment and you have everything in place, it's really a minimal fee to kind of maintain that over time. When it comes to like software, when we're hosting things, like that adds on, we pay a yearly fee for something like that. But it's a very minimal cost on an episode basis. It's just makes sense for us to continue to keep doing.
What kind of opportunities are there for monetization? I would imagine that something where you're offering CE credits, mm-hmm. and then you have, different speakers from different backgrounds and everything. Are there plans to monetize, or for associations who maybe are interested in monetizing their podcasts?
Yeah, so there's definitely opportunities out there. As of right now, we do sell support for what we call bonus episodes. So those are the ones that are industry supported. And we did that because we knew that we eventually wanted to offer contact hours to our nurses for the episodes. And if for some reason product gets brought up in a nursing podcast, we have to be very careful about offering contact hours when there's product specifically. That's just due to guidelines within our credentialing for our education. So we saw those bonus episodes as a way of kind of monetizing what we're doing. So we can sell opportunities to supporters out there that might want to talk a little bit more about product and don't want to restrict the speakers from speaking about product. So that was one way that we've monetized them. You're able to throw in ads I'm sure if you listen to podcasts, in your daily life, a lot of popular podcasts now, they sell ad space. It's a way of making money. WOCN right now does not sell ad space. It's something that we're looking into, but we've never wanted it to be or feel invasive when it came to that. It was supposed to just be kind of like a natural transition into that. So it's something that we are taking a look at, but we don't want to bombard our membership with that. And we have to be careful because of the CE component as well. So
But it sounds like the sponsorship was a solution
Yes.
to being able to discuss product, which is something that is going to come up naturally given the content.
Yes, and we don't restrict our speakers from speaking about content on a daily basis when we are recording them. We want it to come off naturally. So if for some reason post recording we see that product was mentioned, then we just automatically don't offer contact hours for those episodes. We really just don't want to restrict that. So we're just very careful, but adding that bonus episode feature and getting support from industry is our way of really allowing them to speak about product outside of other opportunities, educational opportunities that they may be supporting with the society. So we do supported webinars throughout the year, and we cannot offer them for contact hours if product is associated with it, much like our podcast. So when we have conversations with industry and they are supporting webinars that are strictly educational, no product, we give them this opportunity to say, would you like to then tack on a podcast that talks about that specific topic and may, lead you to speak about some of your products? So it's really an opportunity to work with industry, to give them that opportunity to get in front of our membership, but also bring non-dues revenue back to the society. That's great.
All right, Megan, Sarah, thank you for coming on to our inaugural podcast. Thank you for listening to the Red Chair podcast. Be sure to visit associationheadquarters.com so you don't miss any episodes. Next up, we'll be discussing data collection strategies and data-informed decision-making.